Have you ever had that feeling where life just seems to be happening to you? A deadline at work hits you, then a surprise bill, then your car makes a funny noise. It feels like you're just a pinball being bounced from one reactive task to the next, with no real say in the direction of things. It's like being a small boat on a vast river. You're just drifting, pushed around by the currents you didn't even create, and your main job is simply not to capsize. And we get so busy reacting to the flow of the river that we forget we're actually holding a paddle. If you're new here, I'm Dennis, and I like to explore everyday things with a curious mind. And recently, I've been thinking a lot about that feeling of being adrift and our search for purpose. We talk about finding purpose as if it's a hidden treasure, a destination, a map, or a lost key in the couch. We think if we just look hard enough, we'll stumble upon it. But the more I look into it, the more it seems that we have it backwards. Purpose isn't something you find, it's something that you actually build. And you build it with choices. Psychologists researching the subject discovered something strange about what gives people that feeling of purpose. After studying those who feel it versus those that feel adrift, they found a clear pattern. And it was not what you would expect. It wasn't about having a prestigious job, a perfect family, or some grand cosmic mission. It came down to a sense of choice. The sense of choice is what creates momentum, which is why it's useful to think of life as a river. A river that isn't flowing becomes stagnant, swamp. Debris collects, the water gets murky, and nothing really moves. This is what life feels like when we're just passively letting things happen to us. We become a collection pond for problems. But a river with a current, one that's actively flowing, carves its own path through the landscape. And the very first step to creating that current is simply making choices. Not the right choice, just a choice. When we ask, what should I do? We often look outside the world for answers. Which path will lead to more money? Which path will lead to more success, more approval? But in doing so, we give our power away. The choice isn't really ours anymore. It's just a calculation based on But when you make a choice simply because you want to, like I want to read this book because it sounds interesting, or I'm going to try a hike in this weekend because I feel like it, you start to dig that riverbed. You exercise that muscle of self-direction. It doesn't matter if the choice is big or small, right or wrong. The act of choosing itself is what begins to create this flow. The truly mind-bending part is how this relates to the feeling of being overwhelmed. Our lives are full of challenges we didn't ask for. Your boss dumps a project on you, your rent goes up. These are things that life throws at you. When you're drowning in these, the last thing you want is another challenge. Your instinct is actually to retreat, to make life simpler, to get rid of some of these problems. But the research suggests our sense of control, our feeling of purpose, isn't determined by the total number of challenges we face. It's determined by the ratio of challenges we choose versus the challenges that are forced upon us. And the ratio of active challenge to passive ones is what creates purpose. So if life throws 4 problems at you, trying to get rid of 2 of them is often a losing game because life will just throw more. The paradoxical solution is to add the challenge that you choose. Decide to train for that 5K. Decide to learn how to cook a new dish every week. Decide to clean that one cluttered drawer. The less we choose, the more powerless we feel, which in turn makes us less capable of choosing. So to break this cycle and feel less overwhelmed, you must choose to take on more. This isn't something I have all figured out. It's more of a recent discovery for me, a new lens to look through. And when I look backward, it makes so much sense. I thought about the times in my life I felt the most alive, the most engaged, and this wasn't when things were easy. It was when I was training for a marathon, or when I was deep into a side project, building something new. During those times, the river of life was still flowing. There were still unexpected bills and daily frustrations. But I was so focused, almost obsessed with the problems I had chosen to solve. Like, how can I shave 30 seconds off my mile time? That I was actively dipping my paddle in the water again and again. I was steering. And because my active challenges were so present, the passive one just seemed smaller. They were just part of the landscape I was navigating through. Compare that to times I felt anxious and adrift. In those moments, I wasn't actively taking any challenges. I was just trying to stay afloat. And every small passive ripple in the water felt like a wave, threatening to pull me under. The most absurd, yet powerful advice I can think of is this. When you feel overwhelmed, when life feels like it's too much, the solution isn't to hide from it. It's to deliberately choose more. Not more work from your boss, not more obligations you resent, but a simple active challenge that is entirely your own. And it can be tiny. And there is no right or wrong answer. Choose to read one page of a book. Choose to do 5 push-ups. Choose to learn a new word in a different language. It's not about adding another burden. It's about taking back the paddle. Each tiny deliberate choice shifts that crucial ratio in your brain. It's a declaration that you're not just a passenger, you're the actual navigator. You are deciding in one small way where you are going. And in that simple, absurd act, you begin to craft your own sense of purpose, one choice at a time. So here's the final takeaway. Stop looking for purpose. It's not out there. It's in here. It means that the choice to get out of bed when you don't feel like it, or to face something difficult instead of avoiding it, isn't just another action. It's the very act of building purpose you've been seeking. Purpose isn't a destination. It's a feeling of a river flowing. And you create the current, one small, absurd, and powerful choice at a time. Until next time, stay curious.
Stay playfully curious.